Hello YouTube. Caucasus, mountainous region between the Black and the Caspian Seas in the south of the former Soviet Union. For over 2,000 years, this inaccessible region served as a refuge for a variety of nations, tribes, and adherents of different religions. And even before that time, it had very interesting cultures. I don't know if I can call them civilizations, but unusual. And even the ancient Greeks talked about them, but we won't get there right now. Well, Russia began conquest of the area at the end of the 18th century. The term Circassian is the English equivalent of the Turkic Cherkess, and we use the same in Russian. Today, only a minority of Circassians live in their divided ancestral homeland, mainly in the three republics of the Russian Federation: Kabardino-Balkaria, Karachay-Cherkessia, and Adygea. The majority of these people having been forced to migrate to the Ottoman Empire following the 19th century Russian conquest of the Caucasus. And trust me, they fought back. These people are warriors. Anyway, today I'll describe their experiences with the cryptid creatures they called Almasta. And it's one of their Cherkess republics. To call Almasta or abominable snowman a subspecies is at least incorrect, but science has not yet invented another designation for the aggregate community of these cryptids. The abominable snowman is from the subspecies of hominids because, as we surmise, a remote ancestor of human beings. That's what it is. Almasti is no exception to this rule. Even shepherds believe that the Almasta tribe was cursed in ancient times, but they still remain people in some sense. All abominable snowmen and women are united by a rather impressive height, extensive hair cover, and the dominance of animal habits in the paradigm of behavior. The geography of the appearance of snowmen is limited to mountains and foothills, usually. I've studied other cases. But in the case of Almasta, we're speaking about the Caucasus. To be precise, about the Karachay-Cherkessia, where the concentration of precedents for the manifestation of cryptid activity is high. When exactly did Almasta appear in the Caucasus? The local population jealously keeps the secrets of Almasta's origin and is reluctant to share any detail of the cryptid's name. Local residents believe that the revelation of even one individual to visitors threatens the fate of the entire tribe to the rest of the people. And since the Almasta know the mountains like no one else, the massacre that would follow will be quick and bloody, according to some researchers. Despite this, over time, the traditional foundations of the closeness of the people of the mountains gradually weakened until finally they cracked. So the information started flowing out. At the same time, Soviet scientists first discovered the existence of the wild men, as they called it, in the Caucasus Mountains, while Soviet researchers obtained the first reports about the so-called cryptozoological wild men and women from the Caucasus in the early 1960s. And such reports confused those researchers of relic hominids. Until that time, all the attention of researchers was focused on the Himalayas. And after several well-equipped and prepared expeditions that did not bring the desired results there, it was hard to believe that a wild man could end up in the Pamir Mountains. But moreover, it was hard to believe there could be something hiding somewhere in the densely populated Caucasus. Traversed along and across by numerous expeditions and countless groups of mountain climbers and tourists. Well, there have been plenty of sightings and encounters between humans and cryptids, as we know them as abominable snowmen, Almasta, Bigfoot, Yeti, and more. Let me tell you about some such encounters in the Karachay-Cherkessia Republic. This is a federal subject or Republic of Russia. Well, it's geographically located in the North Caucasus region of southern Russia. Karachay-Cherkessia is one of Russia's ethnic republics, primarily representing the indigenous Turkic Karachay people and the Cherkess or the Circassian people. So the majority of the republic's territory is within the Caucasus Mountains, except for a small strip at the northern edge of the Don steppe or savanna. Karachay-Cherkessia is bordered by Krasnodar region to the west, Stavropol region to the northeast, Kabardino-Balkaria to the southeast. And I need to speak separately in a separate video about Kabardino-Balkaria and the creatures observed there. Also, there's a border, international border with Georgia to the southwest. I'll talk about Georgia a little bit later. Mount Elbrus, the highest mountain in Europe, is located on the border with the Kabardino-Balkaria. Look, I have to tell you, not all the encounters between human beings and the cryptids or Almasta ended well. In 2003, a girl, Fatima, disappeared in the village of Belim. It's a significant village, by the way. She went to the river and didn't come back. She was not found in the river. Then people decided that her fiancé had kidnapped her according to the local mountain custom, but this was not confirmed. The next year, a bus with tourists passed in the direction of the village. Suddenly, tourists saw a strange woman standing on the side of the road. She was dressed in some rags and was waving her arms excitedly. When the bus stopped and the driver opened the door, she quickly jumped into the vehicle, slammed the door, and asked to leave as soon as possible. When the bus started driving, the tourists sitting in the back saw a huge hairy man running towards them, clutching a baby to his side. It became clear that this was the father of the woman's child, as she was running away from him. The bus picked up speed and the giant fell behind. Realizing this, he stopped and swinging threw the child into the river. But then he went into the water, pulled the child out of the water, and then in a rage hit him on the ground with all his might. The same year, 2003, when disassembling his archive, Vadim Makarov, noted Russian researcher of the relic hominid, found two forgotten letters that were sent to him. In one letter, geologist Vladlen Nikolaevich Markin tells about his encounter with Almasta in the upper reaches of one of the sources of the Kubань River. In the envelope of one of them, a photo was accidentally glued from the inside when sealing the envelope. The circumstances of Markin's encounter with this creature are as follows. In August 1955, as a student, he was practicing in the mountains of the North Caucasus. At the end of the work, the students began to leave, and the head of the project offered Markin to join him and explore together two small glaciers in the upper reaches of the Psigansu River. Markin agreed. They stocked up on food and set off. Crossing a rocky ridge, they spent the night with local shepherds. Hearing where their guests were going to, the shepherds warned them. According to rumors, it was a dangerous place there because wild people live in those places. Markin's companion, Kovalyov, a master of sports and mountaineering, who traveled all over the Caucasus, said that he had heard similar stories many times and even saw someone running barefoot in the snow, but it wasn't scary. And they continued on their way. When they reached the foot of the glacier, they set up a tent, put their backpacks into it, and while it was light, decided to walk along the glacier. While they were on the glacier, snow fell and covered all the trails. When a few hours later they returned to their camp, they observed a complete mess of things. An inverted tent was lying on it on the side, backpacks were opened and their contents scattered around. The whole area was trampled by the footprints of bare human feet. Though somewhat oddly shaped, Nothing was missing from the equipment and things, but some of the products were missing: crackers, dry mushrooms, vermicelli, and dry concentrates. The uninvited guest visited the camp after the snowfall, that is quite recently. The older Kovalyov stayed to clean up and cook dinner, and Markin went on the trail in the hope of tracking down the brazen thief. The tracks went off-road and in places on slippery rock, debris and rock falls. On one of the stones, Markin stumbled and sprained his leg. Limping and leaning on the alpenstock, he continued on his way, as the tracks were quite fresh. But after a few hundred meters, the tracks came to the rocks, which Markin could not climb without climbing equipment, and of course he had a sore leg. When he returned, dinner was ready. The uninvited visitor did leave them some canned food in tin cans, which were enough for them to live for a few more days, because it took 3 days to get to the glacier. They discussed the incident and went to bed. Kovalyov lay down with his head to the entrance, and Markin climbed into the depths of the tent and lay down with his feet to the exit. The canopy was fastened, as the night promised to be cold. In the morning he woke up and unbuttoned the canopy. The sun was just turning golden, the crests of the mountains hiding it, and a human-like creature stood against the background of the sky, brightening from the rising sun. Looking at his old photograph of a drawing with an image of a hominid, a human-like creature, standing between the rocks, Makarov for the first time drew attention to the fact that this is not a picture of a drawing, but a real photograph. Using special methods of studying photographs, employing computer technology, Makarov and his colleague, Russian researcher Trachtengertz, managed to identify some details of Almasta face and torso against the background of this silhouette. Details such as well-visible hairline on a dark silhouette cannot be faked. After processing the image on the drawing made by Makarov, this is a young female. Breast glands, dark hollows of the eyes, and a shadow from chin are guessed. However, this and other details are not clearly visible, barely noticeable against the light sky. So that's what Makarov discovered in the letter that was sent to him long ago, and that he forgot to look at when it arrived. Now the latest report. From June 2017. A mysterious creature was caught in a mountain village. A few years ago, a mysterious cryptid was caught in a mountain village in the Caucasus. The Express K newspaper reported this story. Zoologists are unanimous in the opinion that the creature, which was caught in June 2017, does not look like any existing monkey or ape. In addition, it is clearly upright. Unlike apes, monkeys who are forced to walk straight, the creature walked around the house on his own 2 feet very smartly. In social networks, he was called that, a domovoi from Karachay-Cherkessia. You see, in Slavic tradition, the domovoi refers to the household spirit of a given kin. And this word is used by other people in the former Soviet Union. The kind hosts even put green socks on him. His huge, almost human hands surprised them. And the nails look like, after a manicure, as they were covered with some black varnish. It is immediately clear that a creature with such large hands was still going to grow. The details of this story were told by a tracker, Fatah Hajiev, from the Karachay-Cherkessia Republic. This happened in the south of the republic. Indeed, they caught this creature. No one was afraid of him because everyone knew that he was an Almasta's cub. That's what the locals called it. It stayed in the family for only 2 days. Then he was released back into the nature. The elders decided that the cub was looking for its mother, according to Hajiev. It turns out that in the Caucasus, abominable snowman is perceived as a very real being. We already know that. But that's also according to Viktor Kotlerov's books, Snowman, Almasta in the Caucasus. Documentary evidence. For example, in Bulgaria, in the village of Kizgen, one Yeti came to have dinner with the villagers, and the 93-year-old Hoji Osman Kurdanov told the writer that the creature has long hair, walks on two legs, is very tall, and it is very dangerous to encounter it. Once he and his brother fell asleep while grazing sheep, and Almasta tried to strangle his brother. It is noteworthy in this story that a similar creature, the albast, exists in Kazakh mythology, and that's in Central Asia. It is believed that this is a hairy woman with iron claws. Of course, we will talk about the albast in the future videos, as well as more cases from the Caucasus, because there are a lot. Let me add this. In the late 1960s, I think it's 1969 if I remember correctly, I spent about 2 months in the Soviet Republic of Georgia, in the Abkhazia region, in a balmy village Alakhadze, populated at that time mainly by Armenians. I learned a lot that summer from the locals. I swam with the dolphins, with local boys. They showed me a few things there. And also I heard very interesting stories about the abominable snowman that resides in the mountains. This was confirmed by Georgian bus drivers who took us up, my family and other tourists, I guess, into the wonderful mountains on steep, winding and dangerous roads, and they shared a lot about their homeland. If you ever have a chance to visit Georgia, you will be in for one of the greatest surprises. It's an ancient and hospitable land, most delicious food, most hospitable, again, local people, great wine choices, lots of dancing and singing, ancient monuments, churches, temples, you will see. And for those interested, quite a lot of paranormal phenomena as well. You could see some in my other videos. And of course, you will hear tales of strange relic hominids who roam in the very hard to reach mountain heights. And I will bring you, like I said, more of those reports. If you like my research, please support me through the links you can find in the description to this video. Please subscribe to my channel and tell others. Thank you.